So, good evening everybody, and you're very welcome to our talk this evening for the parents and students of the class of 2022 here in Mercy Talk. I hope that you're all looking forward to coming to the school next September and starting off on your second level journey in education. It isn't that far away now, a couple of months. So we start the journey this evening with this talk, and it's a good time of the year to be starting a journey because we just celebrated St. Bridget's Day and the first day of spring, a day of new life, new growth, a new age. And for you, the beginning of second level education is a new start, new energy, new possibilities. And we have just celebrated together Celúra Ceist, which is a celebration of Ceist, because we are one of 108 schools right across the country who belong to a Ceist family. A group of schools who have very similar values and very similar style of education. And central to that education in our school is the notion of living life to the full. And that's what we want for every single one of you of the class of 2022. We want each one of you to have the opportunity to live your life with the fullest possibilities that you have. Whether those possibilities are intellectual, spiritual, emotional, social, economic. Right across the whole spectrum of your life, we want you to flourish and thrive. And that's what the education in this school is all about. And junior cycle is very much the beginning of that. It's about a holistic view of education. And we do that education in partnership with parents, your mums and dads. And that partnership is something that's really, really central to us here in the school. In a survey that we did there in 2019, over 90% of our parents felt that their sons and daughters were doing well here in the school with us. And that's very, very important to us as a staff. That feedback, that connection with our parents is central to what we're about. And it's lovely to start that connection this evening, even if we are online, and hopefully in September we'll all be able to meet together back here in the school. So as I was saying, the junior cycle is the beginning of this journey, discovering for yourself your full potential. And I just want to talk to you very briefly about a few strands in that. The junior cycle has 4 different elements in it. The first part of it is the main subjects. These are the kind of subjects like English, Irish, and maths, and history and geography. All the optional subjects that you're going to get to choose. And one of our career guidance counsellors will be talking to you later on this evening about that and about the options that you have. And it's important that you try to choose the best ones, the ones that are most suited to you. And that's one of the big advantages, of course, in the school here, is that we have a full range of subjects, a very broad curriculum, and you do get to choose. The other thing I think that's important and that I want to say is that we have a very high academic standard here in the school. I mean, just there recently, we celebrated being the top school in the country in the Young Science, the BT Young Scientist exhibition. That's a huge achievement here for us. Beyond that then, we were also one of the top 12 schools in the country in the senior maths quiz, just there in the last 2 weeks. And this is the kind of academic standard that we have here in the school and that we want you to be part of and get involved in when you study your subjects. I want every single one of you to push yourselves. We have a great transfer rate to third level, 86% on average over the last number of years. So you can look forward to that quality and standard, and we want you to be part of it. Now, so that's one part then of the junior cycle, your subjects and your study. The second part of it are short courses. Now, these don't really start until second year into third year, so I'm not going to say much about them this evening because we'll be able to talk about that next year when you get to choose that. But you can see there that there's PE and SPHE and CSPE, coding, digital literacy, arts and performance, philosophy. There's a whole pile of short courses that you could look forward to next year, but more about that then. So that's the second piece of the junior cycle. Then we have the third piece, which is well-being. Now, this is a very big part of the junior cycle because you will have 400 hours in your timetable of well-being subjects. And that will be made up of PE and SPHE and CSP, some of the subjects I mentioned earlier. And that component of junior cycle is about developing yourself socially and emotionally and personally. Really, really important part of your education and a very significant element of junior cycle. So everybody will be doing that, everybody will be part of that, and everybody will have those subjects as part of your curriculum. And the fourth part then of your junior cycle is other areas of learning or extracurricular activities. Now, this is really important here in Mount Hawk. We think this is vital because you get an opportunity here to develop in the arts, debating, public speaking, social involvement, social justice, all sorts of areas like that, St. Vincent de Paul, Trócaire, all of these various different initiatives, teams and sports and extracurricular activities, all of these things. These are key for us here in the school. We have a huge range of stuff happening. You know, the choir, the drama, we just produced a production of The Importance of Being Earnest down in Sheem's Theatre. It was brilliant to be back in the theatre again. And next year, hopefully, we'll have a musical. Beyond that, I mentioned being just and responsible here. You can see the lads involved in Trócaire and St. Vincent de Paul collections. And of course then, we have creating community, getting together as a school, being part, belonging, being part of a family here in Mercy Mount Hawk. And we want you to do that. And our Deputy Principal and Year Head will be talking to you about that now in a few minutes, and about what we do here in the school to invite you in, to help you to get settled and to belong as part of our school community. And of course, can't forget the sport. We've had tremendous success over the last couple of months now, in fairness. We have done really, really well in the girls' football. We have done fantastically well in the boys in GAA, and of course we had our All-Ireland wins in basketball. And you're going to have opportunities in all these areas next year when you get here. And I want to encourage every single one of you to get out there, get involved, be part of a team. We need to be involved, we need to be active. It's part of growing and developing as a young person. My wish, and I'm speaking here now to the parents listening this evening, my wish for your son or your daughter coming into us in September. Bottom line is that they will be happy here in the school, because if they're happy, then they will learn. Then they'll flourish. They'll come to life. I want them to feel cared for and looked after and encouraged by all the staff right across the school. And that is something the Year Head now and the Deputy Principal will be talking to you about, how we help each one of our first years in the transition from primary school to secondary school. And beyond that then, my wish for every single one of you coming in is that they will grow and develop and discover themselves as young people through the curriculum, through the extracurricular activities, through the life here in the school. And with that thought, I'm going to hand you over now to Miss Muldoon Walsh, who is our Deputy Principal, who will be looking after all our first years of the class of 2022 next September.
Hello parents and students, and welcome. Firstly, just to introduce myself, my name is Sinead Muldoon Walsh, and I am the Deputy Principal for the junior part of the school. So I'll be working very closely with you first years, incoming first years, boys and girls, and with you, our parents, as you start your journey with us here as first year students in Mercy Mount Hawk. So you're all now in your last few months, I suppose, of primary school, and you're probably thinking about the next step in your educational journey and of starting secondary school. For some of you, I suppose, and I hope there's excitement about starting secondary school and joining us here in Mercy Mount Hawk. Some of you may already have brothers and sisters here with us and may be very sure of what's in store for you and looking forward to every bit of it. Others of you out there, I'm sure there might be excitement, but also maybe some slight apprehensions about the change that lies ahead and all the differences that you're going to encounter. So I just want to let you all know that we are here to help and support you, and myself and your year head, Miss Summers, who you'll meet after me, will be here to greet you, to help you through the process, and that we have many structures in place here to help make your transition from primary to secondary more manageable and an easy task for you. To you parents out there, I'm sure the most important thing for you is that your child is happy and that they have the opportunities to reach their potential, whatever their potential is. And I can assure you that they will be given every opportunity to grow, to shine, and to do their best here with us in Mercy No Talk. So to prepare you for September and to help you with the transition, to talk through some of the changes that are coming up for your son or daughter, we're going to go through some bits of advice for you. So I'm just going to share my screen with you here now and go through one of the important things that you need to know, I suppose, for starting off. So it should come up here now in a moment. So just to start off with, I know you will have got some of our documentation showing you the school uniform, but here are our lovely third years and they're modelling our school uniform. And you will see that we have the aquamarine jumper with the V-neck. We have a white shirt. We have a stripy tie, and we have skirt and trousers, a grey skirt or trousers, black tights and black shoes. So the suppliers of this uniform, and we have this on the documentation that went out to you, there are two official suppliers. We have Gemmas of Limerick, and they visit the school on designated days, and we will make you aware of those dates through the school app, and we'll email you nearer the time when the Gemmas will be coming to the school before August. The second base is Fitzgerald's in the Mall in Tralee, and you can contact both of those yourselves and you can try on the uniforms at different times. So just, I suppose, to make you aware, there are differences in cuts and styles and shapes in some of the suppliers of the uniforms, so you may want to try them out before you decide where to go in that respect. Now, I suppose two important things really for me to point out at this stage is that the uniform must be worn without modification. So the black shoes and the black socks, this is important. Black shoes without any logos or no embellishments. You know, it's awful for me as deputy principal if your son or daughter comes in with new shoes in September and I have to tell them they're not correct. So it's no good having black shoes with white logos all over them. They must be plain black shoes and your black socks. The second bit of advice, and I suppose this comes from other parents and some of our staff who would have children in the school, is maybe not to run out and buy the uniform straight away now after the talk here this evening. Your son or daughter still has a few months before they begin with us in August, and they may grow between now and then. So maybe leave it till later or a few months' time before you buy the actual uniform. I suppose the next thing that's important is the special educational needs. Now, many of you have already informed us in your admissions forms of any additional needs that your son or daughter may have. So the SEN team here in the school, they want to follow up with you now regarding those concerns and about setting up supports for your son or daughter. So we've already given you notification of this on Monday, but they would like to follow up with you on Saturday morning, the 12th of February, and they will engage with you just for a short meeting, about 10 minutes, to go through the needs your son or daughter may have and a plan of support for them. So in order for you, we want you to book an appointment with the SEN team, and if you ring the school secretary, the number there, 066 7102 550, or you can Google that number and you can book an appointment for Saturday morning. You'll be given a time to come in and meet a member of our SEN team. Likewise with medical needs, if there are any medical needs we need to be aware of, and again, some of you have already made us aware of those, but if there's anyone who hasn't, you may make me aware of them, and there's my email address, sineadmuldoonwalsh@mercynotalk.ie. Now, we will follow up with you parents in August regarding these medical needs. And the reason we leave it a little bit further on to follow up with the medical needs is that there may be people who need to give us medications or need to discuss protocols around medical needs for your student, and they may change between now and August. So we're going to leave it till later in the year to go through those with you. And we will send out an email and a message through our school app to alert you to that when the time comes. So just a few of the changes, I suppose, that lie ahead, I suppose, to address them and make you aware of them. So you students out there can be thinking of them and you parents can discuss them with your son or daughter. I suppose one of the biggest changes starting off is the subjects. There is a much greater number of subjects that you will be studying when you start secondary school. Now, I can say to you, this is generally something that our students mostly look forward to. And it's really exciting to be studying things like woodwork or technical graphics or metalwork, home economics, music, art, all these subjects that maybe you didn't engage with in primary school or engage with very, very little. So this is an exciting thing for your students, and they'll have a huge array of subjects. Now, Miss O'Mahony will go through the subject choices with you later in the talk, and also Mr. Fleming will talk about them and about choosing those subjects. But you will have an opportunity to do a lot more subjects than you had in primary school. Now, I know it can be difficult at the start when you have a lot of subjects, you have a lot of teachers, and remembering names and finding your way around is something you'll have to navigate. But from experience and from chatting with first years, this is something that very, very quickly you become familiar with. And while your first day or two, or the first week, you mightn't have a clue of your teachers' names, give it 2 or 3 weeks and you will find that this comes naturally and you'll remember them all, no problem. The second thing is the teachers, and I suppose this is a massive change, really. In primary school, you have the same teacher all day. And I'm sure you're all so delighted with your fantastic primary school teachers and you love spending all day with them. But this is also something that I suppose our students enjoy about secondary school. Our classes at the moment are 40 minutes in length. So every 40 minutes, there is a change or the bell rings for another subject. Now, some of your subjects may have a double class, which will be 80 minutes, especially those practical subjects where you may need a double class to engage in practical work, to do your woodwork projects, to do some cooking in home economics, to do crafts, and to do art pieces. So every 40 or 80 minutes, one or the other, depending on the class, you will have a change of teacher and a change of subject. Now, most people find that great because you get, I suppose, time to have a different teacher, to move classrooms and all the rest of it. I suppose on the classroom, that means that in primary, you had one classroom all day. Now in secondary, you move classrooms after every class. So after every 40 minutes or every 80 minutes, you will be moving to the next subject or the next teacher. Now this is, essential because obviously there will be a base classroom for some of your subjects, but because of the fact that you will need to go to practical rooms, you will need to move around to a woodwork room or maybe the music room or whatever else. Now I have to say this is something that our students also really, really enjoy because moving around, I suppose, it gives you a break, gives you a chance to stretch your legs, gives you a chance to chat with your friends when you move from one classroom to the next, and also it gives the brains a break. And I suppose scientifically, the research would show that our brains do need a break. And when we're studying, we need to break every, 30 to 40 minutes to give it that little change of scenery in order for us to get back into concentration again. So I suppose one of the biggest downsides of this is, finding your way around. Now, I can say to you very clearly here, the first 2 weeks might be difficult. But like any new building, when you go there, obviously you won't know your way around somewhere straight away. But give it 2 weeks and you'll have no problem finding your way around. I suppose a bit of advice in advance of you coming in, maybe we will give you a journal on that first day when you come in. Now, the first day you join us in the school will be a day just for first years alone. You will be just on your own in the school. You'll have a full day with your tutors. You will get a tour of the school and you will be shown the map in your journal and showed how to follow that map. Second way of helping you, I suppose, is we have a full virtual tour on the school website. So you can look at that tour and you can actually virtually walk around our school before you come in here at all. Another bit of advice I think is very helpful, especially in week 1, where you're in on your first full week. Find 1 or 2 people in your class that you're going to stick together. Because at least if you get lost with 2 or 3 other people, it's not as daunting as being on your own and not knowing where to go. I suppose the last one that's important is ask anyone you meet on the corridor. Older students will show you where to go. Teachers, there's always teachers walking around the corridors and they will be able to support you and help you find the next class. Now we have a system in place in school for the first week or 2 where the teacher you have will, before you leave their class, give you a bit of a guideline of how to get to the next class. So it'll all be fine. And I think it's something that most people enjoy about secondary school. The next bit I think is very significant, and it is probably one of the most significant changes, is your timetable and organising yourself around that timetable. I suppose you will not have had a timetable in primary school and the teacher will have decided when you begin each new subject. So now you're going to have a schedule. But the good thing about this schedule is when you get it, it is the same schedule for the whole year. So it's not going to change. So you will find after a few months, you'll be very familiar and you will remember what you have every Monday and every Tuesday or whatever else. So you will have access to this timetable through our online system Compass, and you can look it up online at any time, and Mr. Fleming will talk to you later about that. But also you will have a print off, and you'll be able to write, and the first day will give you a print off of that. Now, what I would suggest to parents is, a good tip is to print off and photocopy the timetable. Stick it up a few places around the house, because if your son or daughter can't find it or are rushing in the morning, at least you will have a copy of their timetable and you'll be able to check it for them. You can also screenshot it from the app onto your phone, so you'll have a picture of your timetable or your son or daughter's timetable on your phone, and you can have a look at it if you can't find it and you're in a hurry. Now, with the new timetable, I suppose organisation is a part of planning for your new timetable. So, for example, you may be studying art, and you may have art 3 times a week. So you may not have art on a Monday or a Tuesday, and you may have it 2 other days in the week. So it's important that you need to plan the night before what subjects you have the next day. What books do you need the next day? You don't need to bring every book to school every day, only those that you need on the following day. And I think really you as parents can help your son or daughter, especially at the start. But in first year, this is one area you can really support them and help them in organisation by helping them take out their timetable the night before. What homework do I need done for tomorrow? What subjects have I tomorrow? What books and copies do I have to make sure I have tomorrow? And which ones can I leave home till Wednesday or whatever else? Now, what I'd say to you is, this is a new skill. Like any new skill, it takes time to get used to, and it takes practice. And it takes a little bit of helping out at home as well. And you parents can help with that. The last thing I'm going to dwell on, and I'm going to spend a few minutes only on it, is the settling in and the friendships. I think you as parents will agree with me that the most important thing and the biggest factor to your son or daughter being happy and settling in well in the school is having friends and having a group of friends that they can enjoy and chat to and whatever else. Now, everyone is coming into Mercy Mount Hawk from different places. So you may find that your son or daughter are coming in, and nearly everyone from the primary school is also coming into Mount Hawk. There may be others of you coming in, and there are very few from your school or no one from your particular school coming in. So you may be worrying about settling in with friendships. And I suppose to give you a few tips on that, I think it's important that you engage with your son and daughter about how they can make friends, because that's going to be the key to them settling in. So one bit of advice I can give you is, I suppose, get involved in school life. There is many things going on in Mount Hawk for all our year groups, but we put a particular emphasis on different clubs and societies for first years in order to help them maybe make friends, especially in a situation where they're coming in and they don't have close friends. So get involved in school life. Encourage your son or daughter, even if they're shy, to get involved in some group or some club in order for them to make 1 or 2 at least close friends. So we have many sports going on. We have drama, music, creative writing. And I know this year in first year, we have a walking club. So every Tuesday at lunchtime, 2 teachers or 3 teachers bring, depending on how many there is, bring them for a walk during lunchtime, and they can chat and meet people during that walk. We have this Big Brother, Big Sister program, which the guidance counsellors run, where your son or daughter can engage with a few 4th years run it, and they engage in activities and games and different activities and events that they hold at lunchtime 1 day a week. Now this year in particular, we have a student-led initiative where we have Pokemon card club, and we have these exotic gem clubs. Then we have a coding club at lunchtime run by one of our teachers. We have many different things that your son or daughter can get involved in. And I think it's important, if you're worried about them settling in or not knowing many people, that you encourage them to get involved and you find out about these clubs. It builds their confidence also, and I suppose they're getting to mix with people, and generally they identify with some people in these clubs. The last thing I suppose I want to alert you to is, friendships in first year. While we come in with one best friend from primary school, you may often find, and we have seen, and parents will contact us about times where you had a best friend coming in and that best friend now has drifted off with other people. And you may find yourself, struggling with that. So friends do change, and it can be easy for the person who's made a new friend, but it can be difficult for the person who may have lost a friend. I think that's why it's more important to, be aware of that, discuss that dynamic with your son or daughter, and encourage them to join these groups in order to have a group of friends, that they're not relying on one specific friend or another. So there's a few tips for you starting off. I know Miss Summers has a lot more to go through with you, a few tips around organisation and helping your son and daughter. And look, at this video will be available to you nearer the time when your son or daughter are starting in school. And it might be good to revisit it in August when they're beginning to start. So I'm going to leave you for now and say I really am looking forward to meeting you, students, in August, and to you parents in the future. And if you need to contact me at any time, my email address is sineadmuldoonwalsh@mercymounthawk.ie. So thank you for listening, and now Miss Summers will take over from here.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Noreen Summers, and I am going to be the first year head for the incoming first years in August of 2022, September 2022. So thank you so much for taking the time to join us this evening. I really appreciate it. So again, as I said, the purpose and I suppose the job of the year ahead is to have overall responsibility for the year group. Now, overall responsibility varies really from helping them with any pastoral issues that they might have in relation to settling in, obviously helping them to mix and to get to know their way around the school, and then finally, of course, behavioural issues, which I don't think should be much of a problem. And I will remain with the year group, and I'll be the year head for the first 3 years in the school. So by the time they get to third year, we'll have great, relationship built up. So that is fantastic. Now, I was in the same position that an awful lot of you as parents and guardians are. I was that soldier last year. I had my oldest child starting secondary school, and it is a big jump, I suppose. For many of us, we mightn't be used to the secondary school system. So we're all here to kind of help each other out, and we're here for any help or guidance or support you might need. So just very quickly, I suppose, to give you a brief rundown. So a number of years ago, we started a weekly meeting with each year will have a year team. So as the year head, I would be chairing this meeting, and also Miss Muldoon Walsh, who just spoken to, will also be in attendance. So we would just go through any issues that might arise in the year. And it's really helpful. And I suppose it helps me as year head to understand maybe what's going on. Also at that meeting, we have the assistant year head, and she will move on with me as well as year head. And her job is to monitor attendance. And of course, with lockdown and everything, and school closures, it's really important now. Attendance is vital, really, that we keep up with school and even socially meeting with their friends. So, being in school is huge. It's a massive benefit to students. We obviously will try to support behaviour as best we can. Pastoral care is another great support we have in the school. So we have a number of teachers who would be on the pastoral care team, and they would, meet students who might need a little bit of extra support. As well as the year team, then we also have a member of the SEN team, so a very hardworking team in the school. So she will be meeting with myself and the assistant year head and the deputy principal. And every now and then we might have a member of the guidance department, the career guidance department. So I know we have a member of the career guidance teachers speaking to you just when I'm finished here. So that's our year team. Now, what happens on the first day? Because I know for a lot of you, you're maybe, you've a good stretch left in primary school yet, but for incoming first years, what's going to happen on the first day? And for parents and guardians, the big question is, what are they going to need? First thing, I suppose, is it's one of my favorite days. I love coming back and seeing just the excitement and the nerves and the brand new sparkling uniforms, and the very proud parents and guardians as they take their first step into secondary school. So on the very first day, it's going to be towards the end of August. You're going to have the school to yourselves, which is a huge benefit for you, because obviously not everybody will have that. So, for considering the fact that for an awful lot of you, it's probably going to be your first time inside the doors of the school, like this is going to be a huge benefit to you. Some of you might have elderly or older siblings in the school, and you might have been in around the place, but maybe this might be your first opportunity really to see the school. So What do you need? You need your full uniform, obviously, which is all laid out, and you know that it's in the paperwork and all being sent home. But you need to bring a bag, you need to bring a copy or a writing pad or something to write on, and you need your pencils and lunch. Don't forget lunch. Bring a packed lunch, bring some snacks to get you through the day in the morning, particularly. So that's really all you need, because obviously you don't know your timetable, so there's no need to bring any books at all. Now, I suppose the support team, number one will be me, because I would be, a massive go-to person, but we have a real great support system and a tutor system. And on the first morning, they will meet their tutor, and this person is going to be their tutor for the year. They'll meet them 4 mornings out of the 5 for about 10 minutes every morning. So they'll go through various different things. So again, this would be a person that they could feel very comfortable with meeting. So on the very first morning, back, they will meet their tutor. They'll also meet their classmates, which will be their base class, and they will be in this base class for the majority of their time here, which is great because it really helps them to get to know each other, and they'll have different classes together like PE and I suppose non-academic subjects, so they get to know each other very well. So that's the tutor. The tutor on the first morning will give you 2 things. The first will be a journal, which is really important. I'll speak to you about that in a moment. And the next is a hard copy of your timetable. Now, about 2 or 3 years ago, we introduced a new, initiative where each class in first year is assigned an SNA. And an SNA is, they're a friendly face really every morning, and they're really approachable. The students love them. As I said, myself experienced it last year. It's fantastic to have this person, this point of contact that the kids really like. And I suppose they're not academically teachers, so they have a very close relationship with them. So that's great. As well as that, we have a 5th years mentoring program who will be in on the first day, and they'll be around to help you in any way we can. And this year we actually introduced with the transitioners a big brother, big sister program, which was lunchtimes on Mondays. It was fantastic. So they did various different activities like cookie making and cookie decorating and lots of different things. So it was great, and it was really beneficial, I know, to all the first years who took part. And then finally, I suppose, to help us settle in, we have SPHE, which is part of the curriculum and very central to the new wellbeing, which is a huge part of the new junior cycle. Teaching on SPHE myself, we've just kind of finished the first section, which looks at settling in, organising yourself for homework, because homework on a Friday is a new thing. That's something you're going to have to get used to, unfortunately. So how to balance it all out with your sports and your various different activities and your singing and your dancing, whatever it is that you might be doing, your music. How can you balance all of this out and keep everything going and still enjoying it and being happy? So that is a massive part of the SPHE curriculum in first year. I suppose self-management and how to organise yourself. Now, I did ask the Leaving Cert students last week, it's like, give me 2 pieces of advice for the incoming first years. Now, they didn't give me 2, they gave me 1. And the first piece of advice, and the only piece of advice they gave me really, was try to get as involved as much as you possibly can. And we are really lucky to have loads and loads and loads of things for all types of interests. So we have all of the different sports, obviously. We also have the music, the drama, the art. We have new this year, we have a Dungeons and Dragons after school club. We have a Pokemon club. We have various different things. It's a fantastic way to get to know people. I would strongly advise getting it as involved as possible. And you'll see different posters popping up and you'll hear announcements being made. So keep an eye on that. Traditionally, we had a meeting on in person in September. So hopefully, I'm hoping that can go ahead this year. And that, it's an opportunity for me to meet ye, parents and guardians, and also you, the students. And it gives you a chance to sign up to all the various different groups and activities that are in the school. So 2 other things. I'm going to skip down actually, and I'll talk about the other thing in a second. Lockers. Every student will get a locker. And the handiest piece of equipment you'll probably ever buy will be an extendable locker key holder. You can hook it onto your trousers, school trousers. Every first year loses locker key, and it causes much stress and anxiety So please don't be worrying about that. Everybody does it. So, don't believe them if they say they haven't. I know every first year student has lost their applique at some stage, but this is the handiest thing ever, and most hardwares have them. So a lot of the older students have them anyways. But if you're new to the whole secondary school thing and school locker, that was one thing I would strongly recommend that you buy. The second thing, as a parent, I suppose, and as a teacher, I find extremely helpful is the zipped plastic. You can get them in most places actually. You can get them in different colours for different subjects, or you can just get clear ones, but it means that you have all of your subjects, your book, your workbook, your copy, all together in one place. And it is a huge help because number one, it helps you to keep your locker organised. Number two, you're not rooting around in the bottom of the bag for a history copy when you pull out your maths copy and everything is just thrown in together. So that is really helpful. And I know that anybody who uses this, they do find it extremely helpful. Now, the second thing, I suppose, lads, is be organised. Keep an eye on the journal. So you'll be writing your homework into your journal every day. And it's vital that you do that. Even if you don't get any homework, just put down no written homework, or maybe go back over whatever might have been done in class. I mentioned earlier, if you know you've PE every Friday, write in, for months in advance, weeks in advance, PE gear, write in Thursday night, so you know that's what you have to get sorted. It's also a great form of communication between the students and or home, and the school. So like parents, guardians can write notes in the journal for teachers and vice versa. Keep an eye on your journal. Balance out your homework. We'll be looking at this, but make sure you do your homework properly, that you don't leave everything all to pile up on top of you, because it is not going to be easy. And then pack the night before. Make sure you have everything ready. Everybody's morning is stressful. Trying to get a number of people out the door on time. You don't need somebody like realizing 2 minutes before you have to leave that you don't have the maths homework done, or that you don't have the maths copy or the book or whatever. So make sure you have everything ready the night before. Now, the other thing I would say in relation to that, really, from parents and guardians, is that I know they're going to think that they're all grown up and they're no longer primary school children. And I'm sorry now to say this for any students listening, but really getting proper sleep is vital to help them settle into first year. They're going to think that they can stay up much later. Really, you should try to keep them to the same bedtime that they have in primary school if possible, particularly for the first year, because it is going to be tiring. It's a longer day for a lot of them. It's very different. There's a lot of movement in between. So what we can do, I suppose, as parents or guardians, is monitor the phone use. Phones should definitely not be taken to bed at night, regardless of whether they say they need it for the alarm or what they need it for. They should not be taking their phones to bed at night, really. You don't want students coming in here having fallen asleep at 3 o'clock. They're tired, they're not able to cope, and it's really difficult for them then. So, maybe you could download some parental controls. I think Microsoft Family there, I have up on the slide there, just is an example of one. Just being aware and being responsible. The phone is not required to do their homework, regardless of what they will tell you. Maybe on a rare occasion, a teacher might put something up, but they have their journal, they have their homework written into their journal, they'll have their books as well. So they may need it to take a photograph of their work, to upload their work. But I can tell you now that it's rare that they will need their phone for the however long it's going to take them to do their homework. So just, I suppose, be aware of that and around that, because it does have a huge impact on them. And I'm almost finished. So hopefully, before I just finish up, I'll get to see you all in September in person. I'll definitely get to see the students in person, and I'm looking forward to seeing it, seeing them all arrive in here. And final thing I just want to finish up on before I leave you is success is the sum of several small efforts repeated often, day in, day out. Now, what basically, lads, just do the small things every day. Keep on top of things, do your homework, follow your timetable, and more importantly, if you need any help, please feel free to ask us. All right, that's our job. That's what we're here for. And I look forward to seeing everybody. Best of luck. Take care. I'm just going to hand you over to a member of our career guidance team now. Bye-bye.
Good evening. My name is Mairead Mahoney, and I'm one of 3 guidance counsellors here in Mercy Mount Hawk. I'd like to talk to you briefly about your subject option choices coming into first year next September. So all first year students study Irish, English, maths, history, geography, civic, social and political education, or as we say, CSPE, social, personal and health education, or SPHE, religious education, physical education, or PE, science, a modern language, and computer studies. And you'll notice that Irish and a modern language are asterisked, and that's because some students are exempt. Each student must take a modern language from either French, German, or Spanish. And then students must also choose 3 more subjects from the following list: visual art, business, music, home economics, wood technology, graphics, engineering, Spanish, French, or German. And just to note that if you're interested in taking wood technology, graphics, or engineering, that you can choose a max of 2 out of these 3 subjects. So this means that in first year, you'll be studying 15 subjects. That's 12 core curriculum and 3 optional. So how are you going to decide what optional subjects you will choose? Let me introduce you to some of the subjects you may not be overly familiar with or may not have heard of before. So in visual art, you'll have the opportunity to create images and objects using a variety of tools, materials, and specialized equipment. And as Pablo Picasso, the artist, once said, the purpose of art is to wash the dust of daily lives off our souls. What a lovely thought, particularly in these times. In business studies, it will help you to make more informed decisions in the everyday business of living. So it gives you a better understanding of the world of work. It encourages you to think about how and why people start up in business. And it also introduces you to the concepts of accountancy and economics. In home economics, you will learn how to take care of yourself, others, your home, and your environment. You will learn to understand food, how it nourishes you, how to choose it, store it, how to prepare it, and cook it. You will learn about budgeting for yourself and your home, and how to design in the home, and also learn about health and safety and hygiene. There is also design and craft work, and you will be working with textiles. In graphics, you will learn how to represent 3D objects on paper and on computer. You will learn how to produce drawings using drawing equipment, freehand sketches, and computers. You will also learn how to read and to interpret drawings and diagrams, and learn how graphics relate to the design and the manufacture of products. In wood technology, you will learn how to use tools and equipment to make your own designs. You will work mainly with wood, but also with other materials, and you will learn about wood as a material and how it is produced. In engineering, this is an activity-based course. It focuses on metal. So you will develop skills in shaping, cutting, and joining materials, and learn how to use a wide variety of tools and machinery correctly, and how to safely assemble different parts. And in the booklet that has been shared with you, there are details on all of the subjects that you will have choices around. So how are you going to decide which of the optional subjects you're going to take? Well, ask yourself these questions. What are my strengths? What are my aptitudes? Which means, what am I good at? What is your favorite subject at the moment? And take that into consideration. But please, and most importantly, do not choose a subject because your friend is doing it. We understand that it can be daunting coming into a new school for the first time, and friends that come from primary school with you can be familiar, and there might be an inclination to stay with them for certain subjects. But remember that Mount Hawk is quite a big school, and so there are numerous classes in the same subject. For example, Spanish in first year has more than one class. So if you choose to take, for example, Spanish so that you can be with your friend, you may not end up in the same class with them. So please don't choose a subject because your friend is doing it. Think about your strengths and your aptitudes. Think about what your favorite subject is at the moment before making your decision. It's also very important for you to note at this stage that first years going into second year will be asked to make subject choices again. And you will be looking at dropping one subject as you move from first year to second year. But it is very important that you realize at this stage that you cannot take up a subject in second year that you did not do in first year. So choose carefully. For additional information, I have included the names of the other guidance counsellors here, Betty Farrell and Grace O'Carroll, and we will be available to your students throughout first year. May I also recommend the NCCA curriculum online junior cycle subjects. Simply by Googling this, you will find information on all of the subjects that I have mentioned here today, with details on how they are examined in the junior cycle and the content of each of them. There is also excellent information on our website, mercymontauk.ie, and also on the app. And Mr. Fleming will separately send out information to you on how to actually input your choices online. May I finish by wishing you and your children every good wish as they begin their journey with us. Thank you.